At what point were you watching this game? Did you look at these players' faces and think, oh, they're watching their season end tonight at home?
I thought about it, Suzy, a few days ago because I've covered this whole series. And after game 5, where they blew out Minnesota, I was talking to some guys in the locker room, and I said, does Minnesota know that they're better than you? And a couple of guys said, no, they don't know yet. They haven't figured it out yet. And it's our job to keep beating them and get another playoff series win before they figure it out. And I think sometime in that third quarter where I talked about where the 15-point lead went to 20, and then that 20-point lead started to dwindle, and you could see Jamal Murray getting tired, and you could see Jokic ever so slightly getting winded because you're throwing 7-footers after him and you're including them in every single action, and you're playing at altitude, and you played all these games for this year, and you have all this fatigue. You could see it getting to him. You could see the weight getting to him. And you got to remember, Suzy, no champion has repeated in the NBA since 2018-19. And that was when, or 17-18, excuse me, when the Golden State Warriors of Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry, two supernovas at the time. You know what I mean? Like, that shows how hard it really is in today's game. It just shows how different it is. And I think you got to see last night, or I got to see, the fatigue on that team, that so much has to go right, not just from coaching, from playing, from health. Everything has to go in order, and it wasn't going to happen for them. And teams know it before everybody else does. The Nuggets knew that they were going to lose before we knew they were going to lose.
Yeah, the Nuggets, the 5th consecutive defending champions to fail to reach the conference finals. That is a crazy, crazy number. Let's look ahead. Let's project. What are you thinking about as you look at the Western Conference Finals?
I'm looking at like styles make fights. Like, that's how we look at all these things. We're looking at strengths versus weaknesses. And the way that Dallas plays, and Dallas doesn't get necessarily a whole lot of credit because they beat a young Oklahoma City Thunder team, and because Dallas was here in the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago. But when you have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, who very quietly has put himself in a position where, Suzy, remember a year or so ago where it was Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, and we weren't sure where Kyrie Irving would be in the league, if at all, because of all the things that Kyrie had done off the floor. Now Kyrie is quiet. People call him a leader. He's played stable. People are not going to forget all the other things. But with what he's got in front of him right now, it has helped the Dallas Mavericks get to the point that they're at now. I think the Timberwolves are the better team. I think if you match up player for player, coach for coach, is an evenly matched series. But I do think that Minnesota is just a little more dynamic. The problem is when you come off of such an emotional high of beating your rivals, beating the defending champions 3 times on their home floor, including on the Game 7, where you come back from 20 points, I wonder if you can rev up that emotional engine that much more in 2 days, because Dallas has had a couple of more days to rest, and beating Oklahoma City that did not take as much out of them emotionally. I give Minnesota the advantage overall, but I would not be surprised if Luka Doncic found himself back in the, or not back in the NBA Finals, but in the NBA Finals for the first time in his career, because usually what happens in these things is the more desperate team wins.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.